We are back for the fourth league of the day. Let us spin the wheel and see what we are playing next. Are there any plans to do every deck in Pioneer Wheel? Maybe. That's a possibility. Spin the wheel. What will we see next? Infect. Alright, so here is Infect. Once again, if you've been playing Modern at all, you should know what this deck is, but for the uninitiated, you got your creatures with the Infect, so they poison your opponent based on their power level. Glistener Elf, Blighted Agent, and then since basically all the removal spells in the format are white and red, Phyrexian Crusader, which is pro white and red. You have the Noble and Ignoble Hierarchs to speed up your mana production, and they also give Exalted to your Infect creatures. And then you have a million pump spells. Distortion Strike to give them +1/0 and unblockable, and has Rebound. Mutagenic Growth for free +2. Blossoming Defense for +2 and Hexproof. Might of Old Krosa for +4. Scale Up for basically 6 baseline, and then Vines of Vastwood for +4 / Hexproof. Then the mana base is a bug mana base with Inkmoth Nexus and various bug lands including Boseiju and Pendelhaven. Sideboard includes Spell Pierce, Fatal Push, Necromentia, and then Veil of Summer, Endurance, and Force of Vigor. So without further ado, let us jump into the fourth league of the day with Infect. Alright, round 1 on the play with Infect. Looks good to me. So turn 1 Ignoble, turn 2... So yeah, turn 1 Ignoble, so I need to grab blue and green off of this. So Verdant, fetch, grab Breeding Pool, play Ignoble, and pass. I know this represents 9 poison on turn 2 if I'd played Glistener Elf first, but it's not actually lethal. Opponent plays a Mountain, plays Goblin Guide. Alright, we're against Burn. They attack us, revealing Blossoming Defense, so no blocks. Alright, let's just play Blighted and then hold up Blossoming Defense, and then just try to kill them next turn. So pass the turn to the opponent. And then next turn we can go Might, Blossoming Defense for protection, swing. Actually, just 2 Mights plus Exalted is lethal, so plays a Scalding Tarn, fetches, Sacred Foundry. Then they are going to combat, swinging with Goblin Guide, revealing another Blossoming Defense on top. No blocks. We go to 13. And now they need multiple removal spells to kill Blighted Agent. Suspends Rift Bolt. Alright, they're just going to pass it back to us. Very well then. Let's go Might of Old Krosa. And then let's go Might of Old Krosa. And then let's go to combat. Swing with Blighted Agent. Exalted Trigger. Blighted is a 10/10. Alright, we won. Sideboard games. Let's see. We're playing against Burn, so we want Push to kill their guys, Pierce to stop their burn spells, and then none of the rest of this matters. What am I cutting? What are the worst pumps on defense? Or can I shave some creatures? Probably Glistener Elf on turn 1 and 2, they just kill it, is not so great. It's the same thing with the Monodorks, but we're not cutting those. Let's cut 2 Glisteners, and then what's the worst pump spell here? Probably Mutagenic Growth. Distortion Strike's also probably not that important. This guy's unblockable, Inkmoth has flying, this guy's pro-red. Yeah, let's just cut Distortion Strike, and let's run that back. Okay. Alright, game 2. We've got Phyrexian Crusader. We don't have the second black to play it, though. And we don't have any Ignobles or Noble Hierarchs. We don't have any other creatures that we can use. So what is this? It's turn 1 Inkmoth, turn 2 land, attack them for 1 poison. Seems pretty slow. I would snap keep this if I had the second black for Phyrexian Crusader, but without it, Alright, let's mull. This is better. So keep this and throw back a land. And then we can have Spell Pierce and then play Blighted Agent. Okay. Opponent plays Swift Spear. So they take 1 off their Sunbaked, and then we're going to take 1 off Swift Spear. Alright, that changes things. So let's go Pendle, Ignoble. Pendelhaven, Ignoble, pass. Opponent plays their second land. Fetches. Sacred Foundry. So obviously the worst case is they have Searing Blaze. Alright, so obviously no blocks. They didn't cast a spell pre-combat. Boros Charm after damage. Okay. Yep, we go to 14. So let's just play... We need to go fetch a blue land. So fetch, Breeding Pool, shock it in. Unfortunately, play this. And then just pass with Blossoming Defense up. Unfortunately, we're still pretty far away from actually killing them. I can go Pendelhaven to 2, then this is 3, and then we don't have any other pump spells besides Blossoming Defense. Lava Spike us, very well. So we go to 8. I think I'm honestly going to probably have to block this. Because we're at 8, they have 3 more spells. Go to combat. See, if we just go to 6, that is just so close to lethal, and it's not even worth the risk because we don't have a good follow-up. Yeah, I'm going to block. Block here. And then let's just Pendelhaven this thing. If I had more pump spells and I knew I could untap and potentially kill them, I wouldn't, but as is at already 8 life. Probably just have to trade with Swift Spear here. This also does force them, since I'm Pendelhavening this does force them to either spend a burn spell to kill Blighted, or spend a burn spell on us, or like something else, and then this will still die at end of turn. Skullcrack us, sure. So we go to 5, and then these will wind up trading. All right, there's Glistener Elf. So I can play Glistener Elf and hold up both of these for protection. So play Glistener Elf, and then let's play this tapped and pass. It's also possible, since 2 of their lands are Sunbaked Canyons, that we could maybe get there in the end just off of this Ignoble Hierarch, although I find that unlikely. 3rd Sunbaked Canyon, Swift Spear. So they only have 1 more card in their hand. All right, what are they playing? They're just cycling one of the canyons, so no attacks from the Swift Spear. All right, back to us. We drew Fatal Push. What a draw. All right, so kill that, then go to combat, swing here, Exalted Trigger on the stack, pump this up. So 3 power of Infect. So this is a 3-turn clock, because next turn it's another 3, and then it's Blossoming Defense. Path to Exile, let's just protect it with Blossoming Defense. All right, so opponent takes 5 poison, and then we play a land and hold Spell Pierce up, which means they're dead in either 2 hits, or if we draw a pump spell. They are casting Rift Bolt on this. All right, so we will Spell Pierce that. All right, we drew Scale Up off the top. Let's go. Scale Up off the top, boys. We won. Beat Burn 2-0. On to round number 2. All right, round 2 on the play with Infect. So we've got turn 1 Ignoble. It only has 1 land, but it is good. All right, I'll keep this. Opponent mulls to 6. All right, shock this in, cast Ignoble Hierarch, and go. Cavern of Souls, naming Human. Very well, sir. But no turn 1 play. All right, let's get down, I think, both of the Infectors in that case. So shock this in, play Blighted, and Glistener Elf, and pass the turn. Simic Growth Chamber. Okay, so it's Amulet, and they were just hiding what they were playing. How much is this? Exalted, Exalted, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10? Is this 10? I don't have enough mana to do everything, do I? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Noble, and then Distortion Strike. I guess I want to hold up Vines in case they somehow have removal, like Dismember or something. Does it matter though? I go Vines here, it's a 5-5. Mutagenic, it's a 7-7. Then both of these, it's a 9-9. They go to 1 Infect, and then they're dead to either one of these next turn. Yeah, let's just kick. So cast this here, pay the life, then Vines this, then combat, swing, Exalted triggers. All right, opponent's at 9 poison, and they're dead to Blighted Agent or Glistener Elf next turn. And we have Distortion Strike. Mycosynth Gardens, 3 mana for Dryad, plays Cavern of Souls, naming Beast, Summoner's Pact, finds Arboreal Grazer. All right, they're still dead to Blighted Agent. So they've got Grazer, and then they've got 1 more land drop. So even if they have Valakut, they can't trigger it. All right, well, both of these are lethal, and this is unblockable. Amulet doesn't play Solitude, but I guess that's like the only thing they could have that would stop this. So I can just strike this and then attack with both of them, and they're both lethal. All right, Distortion Strike this. Combat, swing, swing. All right, Lethal Infect. Sideboard games. Force of Vigors are all in. Necromentia's in. None of the rest of this. And then what's bad? We need to be able to attack through them. We're in a race. So what comes out? The Crusaders are actually the slowest creatures in this matchup, and their protection doesn't matter. So I can cut Crusaders. What would be the last 2 cards to cut? It's going to be some of the pump spells. So it's basically what's the worst pump spells. They barely have any interaction, right? Like they might board in some Dismembers. So we can probably cut Vines. All right, that seems fine. Let's go with that. Game 2 on the draw versus Amulet. Playing Infect. All right, this hand looks great. We've got a Curve, we've got Infectors, we've got Force of Vigor. Keep the hand. Opponent plays T-West, tapped, back to us. Ooh, Scale Up. Okay, so Forest, Ignoble, and go. And then next turn it's going to be Blighted, still holding up this for Force of Vigor. Forest. All right, back to us. So Misty, fetch. I guess I should have fetched that first so that I could play Inkmoth this turn. Breeding Pool, then play Blighted, and pass to them. Dismember Blighted, sure. Yeah, because then I'd be able to use Inkmoth next turn. So I should have fetched Shocked first on turn 1 instead of just playing Forest. Dryad of the Elysian Grove, bounce land. I could force now, but I'd probably just wait. I can also just hold Force up and manually cast it. Ooh, and Besage You. All right, so Inkmoth Nethix for sure. And then I do what? So I can go Animate, Scale Up, Exalted. It gets in for 8. So any pump spell's lethal. So just pass it back to them. Yeah, it's really going to cost me not fetch shocking on turn 1. Another land. 3, 4, 5. Karn. All right. Minus Karn. I would love if they just needled Inkmoth, and then I just blow both of these up. Yep, they're getting Needle. There's the Needle on Inkmoth Nexus. Very well. All right, Force of Vigor, cast, hit both of these. And then I probably honestly have to attack Karn unless I draw another pump spell. Well, there's another pump spell, so land, animate, scale up, Might of Old Krosa, combat, swing at you. Lethal Poison on the Amulet. All right, round 3. Man, these matches are just flying by. I now see what you aggro players are saying. Game 3 on the play. I have no lands, so let's mull. Huh. All right, keeping this and then binning what? I can't actually cast Distortion Strike, so probably throw that back. Keep this, bin, or do I just bin Inkmoth? Not sure. Huh. Maybe I just bin Inkmoth, and then if I draw Blue Source, I get to Distortion Strike. Yeah, let's put back one of the Inkmoths. Done. So then Peatland, Glistener Elf, pass to the opponent. Scalding Tarn, Steam Vents. All right, unfortunately we have to save this from Bolt, so double Mutagenic to save this from Bolt. All right, so there's Blossoming Defense, so let's just swing and then hold up more protection. All right, take 1 poison. Fetches Tarn, so probably Murktide. Looks like Murktide. DRC. Another DRC. Well, all right. Ooh, Pendelhaven. So let's just swing with the Glistener Elf. I can also swing with Glistener Elf, animate Inkmoth, attack with both of them, and then just Pendelhaven the Elf. Holding up Blossoming Defense forever doesn't seem like the best use of my mana. So yeah, let's just animate Inkmoth, then go to combat, swing here. All right, they are blocking, so Pendelhaven, this guy. They take 1 poison and they lose a DRC. Third DRC. They are 1 card type away from having Delirium. All right, back to us. All right, let's just keep doing same old, animate Inkmoth. Combat, swing with both. No blocks this time. All right, so I guess I'm going to use Pendelhaven. Pump this up. All right, they're at 5 poison past the turn. They fetch, grabbing another Steam Vents, play an island. They do have the ability to play Murktide, but they're just not going to. All right, more lands. So I should probably play this and then Distortion Strike Glistener Elf. So fetch a Breeding Pool, shock that in, cast Distortion Strike here, Counterspell, triggering the DRCs. All right, so they need to find Artifact or Sorcery to get Delirium, and they did not. So Counterspell resolves. So let's animate Inkmoth, go to combat, swing, Cycle Lorien Revealed to give them Delirium. All right, so I'm saving Inkmoth if they block that. Block here, target Inkmoth, cast Blossoming Defense on Inkmoth. All right, one of the DRCs dies, the other one gets shrunk. We lose our Glistener Elf, but we still have an Inkmoth. And then the DRC has to attack us. They play another land, then pass back to us. Ooh, Blighted Agent. All right, so let's go animate Inkmoth, then swing with Inkmoth. Swing. Flash in Subtlety. All right, well, let's just shrink the Subtlety down. So Pendelhaven the Inkmoth, and then we unfortunately lose our Inkmoth, and then we'll play Blighted Agent and pass to them. They fetch. All right, we got this 1 Blighted Agent and with a Pendelhaven, and 1 redraw off the Nurturing Peatland. Lightning Bolt on Blighted Agent. Oh well. They surveil the land. So we take 3 and go to 4. Oh, I didn't realize we were this low. So we're really close. Ooh, I can't play this. So yeah, draw a card. Well, there's a Blighted Agent, so let's play that and pass to them. I guess I'm so low because I had to double Mutagenic earlier, and then I've done some fetching and shocking and gotten hit by these things. All right, we go to 1. We need to draw pretty well off the top here. Might of Old Krosa makes this a 5/5. They have 1 card in hand, so Might of Old Krosa this. No, they have Force of Negation. All right, we lose. Crusader feels a bit out of place. Crusader is here because the format is absolutely filled with red and white removal spells. So this is just unkillable to a lot of decks. All right, so we want Veil. We probably want Fatal Push to kill DRC and Ragavan. I want Spell Pierce to Spell Pierce them back. And Endurance is whatever, but I guess I can play that too. So what do I not want? This is going to be a lot of back and forth, them shooting our guys. So Distortion Strike is the worst pump spell. I can't just play all the Infectors in the world. Blighted versus Glistener Elf doesn't matter that much. I can probably cut some copies of them. And then what else can go? Vine stays, Scale Up stays. Definitely want to keep all the Hierarchs. Mutagenic Growth is a pump spell that doesn't actually get our guys past their burn, and it's the one that is the least pumping of them except for Blossoming, which protects our guy. So let's cut all the Mutagenics, and what else? Probably just one other Blighted and keep this here. All right, let's go with that. Yeah, it's nice, but the mana base is pretty tough to support double black. Yeah, it is, but I think it's a sacrifice that's worth paying in this format. All right, we've got turn 1 Noble Hierarch, but if they just shoot that immediately, then we don't really have good follow-ups. I think it's worth keeping, though, because then we just play Glistener Elf. Yeah, this is fine, I suppose. Keep this, and then we're going to go fetch Breeding Pool. Opponent molds to 6, molds to 5, molds to 4. All right, Windswept, fetch, grab the Breeding Pool, shock this in, play Noble Hierarch, and go. Yeah, thinking on a sec, maybe the blue isn't needed. Well, you could play, like, Plague Stinger instead of Blighted Agent, but there's just so many things that will randomly just block you that you don't want to play instead. All right, Ragavan, ooh, second land. So what am I doing? I really don't want to have to block this Ragavan, but I probably just have to block it, right? Maybe I don't have to block it. So I go Blighted Agent, hold up protection. So Blighted Agent, and then they just hit me for free, and then I just hold up spells for protecting this. Yeah, all right, pass it back. Combat with Ragavan, swing, no blocks. Trigger, what do they get? A land. Oh, they got Inkmoth Nexus. Lightning Bolt targeting this. All right, so Vine's that. Spell Pierce it back. And that's the problem with just not blocking Ragavan. Yep, it is bolted. They only had one land as well. All right, well, Glistener Elf. And then I'm probably just, man, if I just block and then what? I go like Blossoming Defense to survive. So if I'd played Elf instead of Blighted Agent last turn, I could have held up Veil of Summer for the Spell Pierce. All right, let's just pass it back. The fact that they're stuck on only one land makes me want to block Ragavan a lot more. But this represents 6, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 Infect. Yeah, I'm just going to block it. All right, block this. Blossoming Defense on Glistener. They have Unholy Heat in response. Unfortunate. All right, well, now we're in it. Oh, Fatal Push that I can't cast. So rough. I guess I just attack with Exalted. Yep. Swing. Then Ragavan gets to hit us again. All right, they found their second land. So we take a hit. Exiling Veil. Plays DRC. And then back to us. Another Scale Up. It's not getting any better for me if I don't do this. So, all right, scale up the Ignoble. Or the Noble. Oh, all right, Counterspell. So resolve your Surveil. And then Veil in response to that. Ooh, we drew Inkmoth. So this resolves. And then I get to attack for 7. Swing. Will they block this? Okay, they will block this. And then play Inkmoth and go. So another Ragavan hit. They exile a Glistener Elf, which is a blocker. I guess they can't block Inkmoth, right? All right, Peatland. That I can... So I can push the Glistener Elf and then just attack them, but then they're still at 14. Or I can do what? Push Ragavan, animate Inkmoth Nexus. All right, so animate Inkmoth, then scale up here. They have another counterspell. Well, I'm going to push Ragavan. So the counterspell resolves, and then I get to attack for 2 Infect. And now we're both in top deck mode. A land. And they didn't attack. All right. So animate Might of Old Krosa. And then I guess I'm going to pop this land anyway. All right. Combat. Swing for 6 Infect. So they are dead next hit. What's on top? All right. Back to sideboarding. It's really rough trying to play these and protect them, especially on the draw. So I think I cut that back, put back in Glistener Elf, and then that's probably fine. All right, submit. All right, game 3 on the draw, Murktide versus Infect. All right, we've got Glistener Elf and we've got Protection. So I think my play is keep this, don't play Glistener Elf on turn 1, play it on turn 2 with Protection up. Opponent mold to 6, plays a land. Steam Vents, Ragavan, yep. Ooh, a second Glistener Elf? Okay, so now I'm just gonna play it on turn 1. So fetch Breeding Pool, and then run Glistener Elf out. All right, they just kill it. Spire Bluff Canal, then they get to attack us with Ragavan. Scale up off the Ragavan hit. Ooh, Inkmoth. Man, it's really rough. Because I can't play Inkmoth if I want to hold up protection for Glistener. So, yeah, let's just play Boseiju normally, and then play Glistener Elf, holding up Spell Pierce / Veil. Counterspell, Veil. And then back to them. But this Ragavan is just such a pain. Do I block this? I don't have lethal. It's also very unlikely that they're not going to just draw into removal. I have Inkmoth Nexus to follow this up with, so I think I just trade. Just allowing them to keep escalating on mana is such a bad game plan. Expressive Iteration, Island in Exile, playing Island, back to us. All right, play Inkmoth, go. DRC with Delirium. Ragavan with Dash. All right, so they hit us. Exiles a land. Ragavan back to their hand. So I can animate Inkmoth and scale it up, and then they probably have to block here. All right, fetch a forest. Animate I guess they just are going to attack with this next turn, right? So they won't have a blocker. Yeah, maybe I just let them do that. And then I just get lethal in here, this plus Spell Pierce up. Yeah, on second thought, I'm not going to attack. So obviously I shouldn't have animated it there, but... All right, back to them. So Dashing Ragavan, they have to attack with the Artsy. So we take 5 to 7. They exiled Vines. Then Ragavan back to their hand. All right, and they can unfortunately pay for Spell Pierce now. All right, so what do we drew? Ignoble Hierarch. I think I just have to get in for this now while I can. So I go Animate, and then I go Spell. So I need to go fetch a basic forest. Oh, I'm out of basic forests, right? Because, yeah, so I need to go fetch Overgrown Tomb, I guess. Well, I'm dead on the backswing regardless. So shock this in, and then Animate Inkmoth, then scale this up. Bolt in response. All right, Surveil. All right, Might of Old Krosa to survive the Bolt. So then Bolt's good, then scale up resolves. Now it's 10 power, go to combat. Swing. All right, we got there. Beat Murktide. On to round number 4. All right, round 4 on the draw with Infect. Ignoble, no Infector though. So it's turn 1 Ignoble, and then turn 2 if I don't find a creature with Infect. I'm kind of out of luck, but I have a bunch of pump spells, including protection spells. Let me think about this. I also get a redraw with Nurturing Peatland. I probably just cannot afford to keep this. So let's see, I have 16 creatures with an Infect in my deck. Inkmoth, Glistener, Elf Blighted Agent, Phyrexian Crusader. So that means I have a, 1 in 3 or so shot at drawing an Infector each turn. That's probably just not good enough. All right, Crusader, double Elf, keep this. Let's put an Elf back, done. So turn 1 Glistener, turn 2 doesn't matter, something. Turn 3 Crusader. All right, opponent plays Bloodstained Mire. All right, they finally fetch Blood Crypt. So if this is scam, then this Phyrexian Crusader will do us very well. All right, turn 1 Fury, scammed it back. They exiled Ragavan to do that. All right, we might actually be too slow for this. That's crazy. All right, shock in Overgrown Tomb, play Glistener Elf. Because then we take 8 and go to 10, and then I have to fetch another time, and then we take another, so we go to 9, and then they hit us again. So I think I actually have to chump this. They fetch, yeah, I have to chump. Unless they're just going to Bowmasters and kill this immediately, or terminate, or whatever. No, they're just going to attack. All right, we have to block. Because the way the math works out, we're not going to be able to play Crusader if we don't. Plays Dothy, which we also can't block. All right, well, just play a land and pass. So we take 11 here and go to 7, and then I fetch to 6, and then I fetch again next turn and go to 5, play Crusader to block Fury. All right, so we're at 7. Fetch, go grab the other Overgrown Tomb. So land, fetch, grab Forest, play Crusader, and pass it back to them. So now this gets to free block Fury, and then they have nothing to block it, so I get to go double Might next turn, win the game, hopefully. So I lose to what? Bolt or a dashed Ragavan? Another land, tapped, combat, swing with Dothy, can't block it. We go to 2. All right, back to us. So Might of Old Krosa, pump it up. Might of Old Krosa, pump it up. Combat, swing with Crusader. We got it. We did it. We beat the turn 1 Fury. All right, sideboarding. Push for all their guys, Veil for their scam stuff. Is Spell Pierce relevant in this matchup? Probably to some degree. Basically, the major thing that matters is getting Crusader down as fast as possible. So the card that doesn't matter the most is what? Blighted Agent. So probably just do that and try to find Crusaders. X1s are also pretty bad against the Bowmasters deck. I guess, yeah, they're playing Bowmasters, so this doesn't get through everything. It doesn't get through the Bowmasters or the token it makes. Also, Grief can block it, I guess. So is Spell Pierce good then? What does Spell Pierce do for me? I guess the bigger question is Spell Pierce better than anything I'm currently playing? And I don't think so, especially on the draw. I'd probably want it on the play to stop scam stuff. All right, let's submit that. I like Endurance here. The problem is, so in order to stop their scam stuff, if they have Grief, it doesn't work. Because then they just go Grief, take your card out of your hand first, and then just take Endurance, and then they scam it back. So it only works against Fury. Yeah, just over Noble Hierarch. I don't think I win the game by slowly trading on resources with a 3-4. I think the way I win this game is I get Phyrexian Crusader down on turn 2, and then just kill them. So I want to maximize my ability to play this on turn 2. There is also Blood Moon to consider. We are 3 different colors, but I'm not bringing in Force of Vigor just for that. Spell Pierce for that also might be relevant as well. So I'll switch Spell Pierce around for the next game. All right, we've got Land Ignoble, Phyrexian Crusader. We're just missing another land. Obviously, this hand's incredibly fragile. If they just kill Ignoble, or if we just don't draw the second land, or the second land we draw isn't another black source, but I'll keep this. We could also just lose to Grief Scam on turn 1 anyway. Blackleaf Cliffs. Well, our opponent is once again taking their sweet time. So in the meantime, while we wait for them, how is the Pro Tour going, guys? All right, looks like we're getting turn 1 griefed, so we're probably screwed, because they'll just take Ignoble and Phyrexian Crusader. They exiled they exiled a Scam spell to this. Mono Green Tron is topping the Pro Tour. They took Veil of Summer, huh? Wait, they're playing multiple Undying Evils? That's a no-no, guys. Do not do that in your Scam deck. And they took Crusader. Yep, all right. So we've got quite the uphill battle. All right, shock this in, play Ignoble, pass. Fatal Push our guy, yep. And now we start getting beaten down by the Grief. They call Scam Rakdos Evoke since I guess they don't want a deck called Scam on official coverage. Yep, that is correct. So play Ignoble, or play Noble, and then pass. But consider this, isn't that frankly embarrassing? That they have a deck called Scam, named for obvious and intuitive reasons, that is the top deck in the metagame aside from Tron, I guess. That you have to avoid saying the name of the deck because it would look bad on your format. EE for 1, and then they'll blow up Noble. Well, I can't block, so go to 10. All right, fetch. Let's go grab Overgrown Tomb. They're just not going to use it now. What if I just draw Crusader? Oh no, I don't have the double black. So rough. Well, I'm not blocking anyway, so I guess I just attack with Exalted. Swing, Exalted trigger. Take this, my Ferocious Noble Hierarch. So the problem is now we take 4 from Grief and go to 5, and then if I want to play Crusader, even if I draw a land next turn, we've got to go down another 2 to 3 life. All right, we go to 5, and then back to us. So Pendelhaven is not going to do it. I just can't block the Grief is the problem. What could I do? All right, Pendelhaven, attack with the Noble. Swing. I did put Fatal Push into the deck, but in order for that to work, I have to get Revolt, which I have no way of enabling. Fetch another land. So we go to 1. All right, well, we finally drew the land, but we can't use it, so that's game. So sideboarding, I want to bring Spell Pierce in. The fact that they've got EE on 1 makes me want to switch some of these Glistener Elves and Blighted Agents around. I guess if my main plan is to win with Crusader, then I don't need Distortion Strike as much. So maybe those go, and I just keep the Glistener Elves in. All right, let's... Oh, no. So, okay, that puts me at 62 cards. Yeah, so... This out. Let's take out a... What else? Yeah, okay. Take out a Glistener Elf. These are just, like, so bad for tempo in this matchup. Yeah, never mind. Let's just keep those out, bring these back in. Submit. So, plan's the same as it always is. Turn 1, Monodork. Turn 2, Crusader. How many black lands are actually in here? There's 2 Overgrown Tombs, 2 Peat lands, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are only actually 12 black sources, and you have to get 2 of them. So if you were going to make this deck 2 colors to support Crusader, you would cut Blighted Agent and you'd put Plague Stinger in its place. Then you'd cut all the blue lands and replace them with black lands, and then you'd cut Distortion Strike and Spell Pierce, and you'd just play what? Just more Green Pump instead? All right, on the play. Well, we've got turn 2 Phyrexian Crusader, so keep this hand. So turn 1, fetch Overgrown Tomb, play Ignoble, cross our fingers that it doesn't die and they don't Thoughtseize Crusader out of our hand. Turn 2, play Crusader, and then laugh all the way to the bank. Might be able to make it an Obosh deck. You do not want this to be an Obosh deck. If you're playing Obosh, that means the game has dragged on for a long time and you're losing. All right, Foothills, fetch, Overgrown Tomb, shock this in, play Ignoble, and pass it back. I get it that you would only have to cut Plague Stinger / Blighted Agent to make it an Obosh deck, but I don't think that's actually worth it. All right, hopefully they just go like turn 1 Ragavan. Bloodstain Mire, sack the Mire, Blood Crypt. What is happening? What's going to happen? I do not like how long they're contemplating this. No, Fatal Push. No. Another Ignoble. Another Ignoble. We've got a shot here. We got a shot here. Come on, live Ignoble. Castle Locthwain. Chalice of the Void on 1. Okay, we can get through that. It's bad for us, but we can survive. Man, it's so bad for us. I guess I can Besage that out of the way, right? All right, so Crusader. Haha, feast your eyes on this, opponent. You can't kill this. So the next turn we go Besage your Chalice and then start actually playing one mana spells. It still baffles me that they have like Chalice of the Void in your deck that has 1-drops in it, but I guess it's the thinking is it's worse for us than it is bad for them. All right, what's the play here? It's Besage you this, push Dothy, hold up Veil of Summer. So shock this in, I guess I don't need to push Dothy, but I probably should just do it now. All right, so Boseiju the Chalice. I'm not going to animate Inkmoth, so that's fine. Boseiju your Chalice. They're getting a Blood Crypt untapped. All right. Might of Old Krosa, Crusader. Combat. Swing for 7 Infect. And then it's lethal next turn with the Ignoble in play. So just hold Veil up in case something happens. So how do they get out of this? They need a non-red creature to block with, which is Bowmasters. They don't have 3 colors for EE, so that doesn't do it. Undying Evil on Dothy. Okay, don't we just have a Boseiju and a Might of Old Krosa in our exile? So sure. You may play it this turn. So they can play a Boseiju as a land, or terminate on Ignoble. Veil that. So I guess the plan was sack this to make Ignoble so they could block. All right, 4-0. On to round number 5 with Infect. It didn't make any sense for them to do that, though. They should have terminated first, see if it went through, then do that, then Undying Dothy. All right, 5th and final round. We're on the draw, playing Infect. Well, no lands is going to be a mull. Opponent reveals Gigantha. All right, mulligan. All right, this is actually keepable. So keep this. What am I binning? Not the land, not Crusader. Actually, I can't even play Crusader, right? I go and fetch Overgrown Tomb, and then I just have Noble in hand. So maybe it is Crusader. Yeah, all right, bin Crusader. Opponent is also mulling to 5. Flooded Strand. All right, Misty, fetch. And let's just go ahead and grab Overgrown Tomb. So shock that in, play Noble, and pass it back. Opponent fetches Zagoth Triome. All right, if this is Renin 6, that's really bad. Windswept Heath, fetch. Looks like a Renin 6 to me. Bowmasters, also bad. Well, the fact that it's Bowmasters means this is probably Domain Zoo. So let's see. Land, and then I can go Glistener Elf, hold up Protection. And then what do I do next turn? Like, if they just have another removal spell, just playing Glistener Elf plus Noble is pretty bad. But if they don't have removal, then not developing my mana is bad. Let's say I go Glistener Elf, and then I don't block them. I hold up Protection, and then on my turn, I untap and I have 2 mana. And then I can't attack into them. So I just play... okay, that's fine. So, play this. I guess I need to fetch now, right? Nah, I don't. I don't need to fetch now, so let's just pass it back to them. I only need to fetch now if I'm fetching not a basic forest. I guess the alternative was play Noble Hierarch with Protection up and not Glistener Elf. Alright, opponent's just attacking with both of them, so no blocks. Take 2, go to 15. Wild Nacatl. Yep, so it's Zoo. A single white up could mean Leyline Binding, so I still can't just act with impunity. Alright, so let's go fetch a forest, play Noble. So the problem is I have to pump pre-damage. I guess it's basically I trade my pump spell for their Nacatl, although no, because then if they just have removal, they just hit it anyway. Yeah, so I guess I just pass without doing anything and try to get in next turn. Leyline Binding. So yeah, they did have the binding. Targeting this, so let's just go Vines or Blossoming Defense. I guess let's just Vines it. All right, back to them. And we can't block any of their creatures. Oh, they just have more removal? All right, Tribal Flames on our guy. Well, we were never going to beat the all removal hand. So they swing at us. No blocks. We go to 9. I guess I can technically pump Noble Hierarch up really high. There's Blighted Agent. All right, Blighted Agent with Protection up. Play Blighted, go. And then on my turn, I can go Might, Blossoming Defense, kill you. All right, combat. They attack with everything. We do die to Tribal Flames, but if they have Tribal Flames, they have Tribal Flames. All right, no blocks. We go to 4. Ragavan. All right, back to us. And so now I'm pretty sure we win. So Might of Old Krosa. Might of Old Krosa. Combat. Swing. Exalted Trigger. 10-10. All right, we have dealt lethal poison. So let's see. Domain Zoo. What do I want? Push. Veil of Summer only counters Bowmasters and what else? That's basically it. And then Forest is not useful. Yeah, they have Leyline Binding, but whatever. None of these are useful. So, okay, yeah. So just bring in Fatal Push and then take out what? They have a lot of creatures, so I want to keep Distortion Strike in. Probably Mutagenic Growth. Yeah, let's cut 2 Mutagenics. Phyrexian Crusader survives all their removal. Doesn't survive combat with like green creatures, but that's fine. All right, submit. On the draw, game 2, Zoo versus Infect. Hand looks good to me. We will keep. So let's see. Turn 1, Ignoble. Turn 2, Inkmoth, Glistener Elf. Opponent fetches. Gets a Sacred Foundry. Plays Ragavan. I hate not being able to just trade with that, but I guess I'm not supposed to. I can win with just Inkmoth. So Pendelhaven and then play... I'm far more likely to win with Inkmoth as well because they have so many land creatures. All right, let's just play Glistener Elf. Now, I guess I get to hold Pendelhaven up to block it. I just hate this treasure token so much. All right, play Ignoble. Go ahead. So no blocks. Go to 18, trigger. They stole a Might of Old Krosa. Plays Overgrown Tomb. Plays Territorial Kavu as a 4/4. All right, so Inkmoth, then play Glistener Elf, and then pass it back to them. So I can block and Pendelhaven, and then even if they kill it, then I can, on my turn, animate Inkmoth, double pump it with Might of Old Krosa, Exalted, kill them. Although I'm one short of being able to Blossoming Defense. Fetches, Flooded Strand. Get to Steam Vents. All right, now they have full domain. Scion of Draco. Well, now I can't attack into them unmolested. Swing there. Then Rummaging with the Territorial Kavu. Well, I assume they have burn of some kind. So let's block Ragavan and just force them to use it now. All right, Pendelhaven, what do you got? Blue, black. They just have Bowmasters? All right. So Bowmasters kills this. Oh, if only Scion of Draco weren't here, I'd have lethal. So now what? I can present lethal, and then they have to block. So let's say I go land, animate, put Might of Old Krosa on it, attack. Then they're pretty much forced to block because they don't know if I have another pump spell to pump it up to kill them. So Scion of Draco dies, and then they have the rest of this in play, and I have to try to kill them next turn. And then they're attacking back for how much? 7, 8, 9? All right, Inkmoth, animate Inkmoth. Oh, fantastic. It reordered which Inkmoth I had, so I can't attack with this one now. Well, I guess I'm passing. I was very careful to make sure I was looking at the correct one, but it switched the order. All right, so they attack with everything, and now I'm forced to block a thing. So they're rummaging away Scion of Draco. So what is my game plan here? I have to block something or I lose. I can animate Inkmoth Nexus and try to... All right, so animate this. And this is 5, 9, 10, 11. So blocking... So if I block... This has Trample. So if I block here, I'm dead to Tribal Flames either way, but I could die to Bolt. But if they have Bolt, I just lose. So if I block Scion, I take 9 and I go to 4. But I have to take damage next turn anyway. If I block here, I take 11, I go to 2, and then I can't play lands. Or I guess I can play 1 forest. Block here, that's 11, I go to 2, then I fetch, or I block here. I'm just dead to Bolt if regardless of how I do that. So I think I just trade off. I guess I have to kill them next turn regardless, so let's just block here. No, let's block here, and then Pendelhaven it. All right, Pendelhaven this. All right, we're at 2. Do you have Bolt or Tribal Flames? All right, they just have Tribal Flames, so we were dead regardless. All right, well, is Spell Pierce good in this matchup? They have like Binding, Tribal Flames, Bolt. It's probably good. And let me cut 1 Glistener, 1 Distortion Strike. All right, submit that. On the play, I think I wouldn't have won regardless of whether I had actually attacked there or not. Well, we have no land, so mulligan. All right, wow, this hand's so awkward. We have no blue mana or black mana. I don't want to go to 5, so I guess we keep this and throw back Phyrexian Crusader. Keep this, throw Crusader back. All right, so Pendelhaven, Glistener, go. So we would have lost last game regardless because I animate Inkmoth pump attack, they chump with Scion of Draco, then they attack back for 9 and Tribal Flames and we still lose. Draw scale up off the top, we win? Nah. Oh well. Boseiju. All right, Pendelhaven, Might of Old Krosa, attack for 6. All right, opponent's at 6 Infect and we can't play any blue spells in our hand and we have no more pump spells besides Distortion Strike. Sacred Foundry. Tribal Flames to kill Glistener. Blue mana. Come on, blue mana. There's blue mana. Fetch. Go grab Breeding Pool. Shock that in. Play Blighted Agent. Go ahead. Opponent plays Steam Vents. Leyline Binding. Very well, sir. Our Blighted Agent is bound. Opponent plays Kavu as a 5/5. Drew Crusader that we can't play, so let's just pass it back and then Boseiju the Leyline Binding. So they attack us, and we're going to go to 12. They discarded Hidetsugu Consumes All. All right, Boseiju the Leyline Binding. Blighted Agent returns, they get another land. They have 4 cards in hand and didn't play anything, so likelihood of instant speed removal is quite high. Another Binding, another Binding. All right, well, there's 1/2 of Phyrexian Crusader mana, so pass it back to them. Flashing in Bowmasters. All right, so we're taking 7 this turn and going to 4, and then I have to fetch, grab Overgrown Tomb, tapped, go to 3, and so I can't even play Crusader next turn even if we draw the land. Opponent plays Scion of Draco. Yeah, so we're super dead. All right, go fetch Overgrown Tomb. Vines of Astwood. Yeah, that ain't cutting it. All right, opponent got it. Well, we finished 4-1 with Infect. So let's see. First of all, I'm not sure why these decks aren't playing Groundswell anymore. I feel like you just want maximum pumping. Secondly, the So the Phyrexian Crusaders are entirely dependent on how prevalent is red and white removal slash creatures in the format. I think right now they're very prevalent, but it is a significant problem having 3 different colors in this deck. 3 different colors in a deck that is 21 lands and playing 4 colorless producing Inkmoth Nexuses, a Pendelhaven that only produces 1 color. So I think what you should do if you're going to run this is evaluate, first of all, is the Crusader protections worth it? Like, is the metagame in a state that it's worth having the pro white, pro red? If it isn't, then you just run the blue green version and cut the Crusaders. And if it is, you probably just cut Blighted plus Distortion Strike and Spell Pierce from the sideboard and run Plague Stinger in this spot and then just some other spell here. And then probably, I just really don't like Mutagenic Growth. I get that it's free, but it's also only +2, and Blossoming Defense at least protects your guys. This doesn't even do that. I think these should just be Groundswell.